Hello guys, today I will talk about the plug-in sales growth of the different automakers around the world in 2022. We will walk through this chart, which is on evvolumes.com. If you go to evvolumes.com, you can see this chart right on the main page. And this chart contains the overall plug-in sales for each automakers and the year-over-year growth of the plug-in sales. With green, you can see the BEV sales, and with blue, the plug-in hybrid sales. Fuel cell electric vehicle sales are not here, but their sales are a very small number anyways. And the scale here on the top is in thousands, so this is 1 million units. And here is the year-over-year change for the whole year. So this is the overall 2022 sales divided by the overall 2021 sales. By the way, evvolumes.com is a very well-known website and very respected in my opinion. They are gathering all the plug-in sales data from different automakers and all over the world. And many of the sales data what you can find on the internet comes from these guys. Okay, so let's go through the chart. I will have some comments for each automakers. However, in the description field, there will be timestamps for each automaker, so you can jump to the automaker which you are interested the most. As you can see, there are many automakers to talk about, and many of these are Chinese automakers. And although I have read a lot of articles about the Chinese EV market, I do not remember everything about every automakers. So I will only mention some of the stuff about them. I will not introduce them comprehensively. It is possible that I will miss something important about them. And also there is some chance that I will make some mistakes when I talk about these Chinese automakers. So please keep that in mind. I just want to talk about them for you to have some ideas about these automakers because not many people know them. This video is not about the automakers themselves, but about the insane plug-in growth what they have experienced. Now, let us start with the main discussion. First of all, what is important to note that the global EV deliveries increased by 55% year over year in 2022, and by EV volumes mean plug-in vehicles. This will be important to get a sense about which automakers grew faster than the market and which automakers grew slower. Okay, so let's start with BYD, and they have sold more than 1.8 million units. And traditionally, about half of those vehicles are BEVs and half of those are plug-in hybrids. And BYD is no longer selling anything else, so there is no pure ICE vehicle in their lineup anymore. It is strange to me that they are still increasing the plug-in parts as well, with about the same pace as the BEV part. Previously, I thought that the plug-in sales will go away, but somehow that is not happening yet. Okay, so even BYD's BEV sales are above 900,000 in 2022. Which is getting close to Tesla, and I think it is possible that this year they may overgrow them around Q4 or so. However, so far BYD sold cheaper vehicles, so their profitability compared to Tesla is lower. But now they have started to come out with the Denza brand and the Yangwang brand, so I believe that they may go towards the higher margin vehicles. And it is possible that Tesla's margins will shrink, partly because they want to go to the $25,000 vehicle. So I think that it is possible that in the future the profitability of these two automakers will converge towards each other. Nevertheless, BYD's 211% growth is incredible, especially at the scale which they are at. This basically means that they have more than tripled their sales. Okay, let's move to Tesla. Tesla grew by 40%, which is below the 55% market growth, but I believe it is okay. Tesla grew faster than the market in several of the previous years, So it is okay to have a slower growth rate for a year. Also, it is important to note that they are planning to sell 1.8 or 2 million vehicles this year. 1.8 million vehicle sales would mean about 37% growth, and 2 million vehicle sales would be about 52% growth. So they are planning to grow with about the pace of the market. Now let's go to Volkswagen Group, which grew very slowly by 10%. However, I believe it is important to note that their BEV sales grew by 26%, which is still below the market growth, but better than 10%. And as you can see, they are going towards pure BEV sales mostly. They also had some production problems in Europe due to the Ukraine crisis, and that slowed down their BEV sales growth, but still these numbers are quite low. They also have software issues. I think that is the biggest problem with them right now. Personally, I do not understand how can they be so bad with the software, but this is the situation, and I see some signs that they are getting better with it. So I hope they will go through that and they will pick up their pace with their BEV sales. However, it is very likely that they will not overgrow Tesla and BYD. And I think they have to watch, for example, Hyundai Motor and the Geely Group, and maybe some other automakers. So they are not competing with BYD and Tesla anymore, in my opinion. They will compete with mostly Hyundai Motor and the Geely Group. Okay, let's go to GM, and these numbers are not bad. They grew by 13%. 13% is bad, but the overall numbers are not bad. However, these vehicles are mostly the Wuling Mini EV, which is a very low cost, low profitability vehicle, and the Chevrolet Bolt. They haven't sold a lot of vehicles with their new BEV platform, the Ultium platform. So to me, they haven't proved yet that they can build great BEVs with scale. But in Q1, they have delivered almost 1,000 Lyriq, which is a start. This is the first time when we can see reasonable sales numbers for this vehicle and for the Ultium platform overall. So let's hope that they will ramp up their sales in 2023. I think this will be the first year when they will show reasonable numbers. They also plan to bring in several vehicles in China and in the United States. And let's hope that they will move to Europe as well. Okay, let's go to Stellantis. And the Stellantis was created from FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automotive, and Peugeot Citroën. And because Peugeot Citroën, they have a lot of BEV sales in Europe. They grew in a reasonable rate with 34%, but they are mostly strong in Europe, and their vehicles in the US will come, I believe, this year or next year on their new dedicated platforms. So maybe it will be interesting to watch those, but they are also weak in China, which is a big problem, I believe. Nevertheless, in Europe, they are coming out with some very nice looking vehicles, so I am actually excited about those. Okay, let's go to Hyundai Motor with 43% growth. Hyundai Motor is actually one of my favorites. They are both making BEVs on ICE platforms, and they have dedicated BEVs, and I think this is the perfect conversion strategy for an ICE maker. Their scale is not where I want it to be, but their vehicles are quite great. People like it. And for example, the Ioniq 6 is more efficient than the Model 3. So the tech is there. I hope that they will succeed in volumes as well. 43% is a little bit below than the market growth. BMW Group is growing with 32%. I don't like that the BMW Group is coming out with their dedicated BEV platform, the Neue Klasse, only in 2025. I think it is a last-minute solution. I think it would be safer to come out in 2024 at least. So they are risking market share loss and to some extent bankruptcy, in my opinion. At the moment, they are building vehicles on their ICE platforms or the conversion of their ICE platforms. And those vehicles cannot be so efficient than a bespoke BEV platform. So I haven't expected much from their BEVs. However, when they came out, both their efficiency and the overall vehicles proved to be much better than I have expected. Almost all the reviews what I have seen were very positive towards these vehicles, and also the efficiency wasn't so bad. So the execution of their strategy is quite great, even though I do not agree completely with their strategy. And they have also about doubled their BEV sales in 2022 to 215,000 units. And they are planning to sell 400,000 BEVs this year, which is also almost doubling their sales. So don't get confused because of this plug-in growth. The BEV growth is much higher, and that is the most important in my opinion. Next up, Chery Auto Group, and I think Polestar and Volvo cars are not included here because they are here separately. And Geely Auto Group is a privately owned Chinese automaker, one of my favorites. They are doing great things in my opinion. One is, for example, their Zeekr brand. Their Zeekr 001 is very popular, and the Zeekr X is coming, which is a smaller SUV. So I expect them to do great things. And Geely aims to make 50% of their overall sales electric this year. By electric, they mean BEVs, PHEVs, and HEVs as well. However, 70% of their electric vehicle sales were BEVs in the first half of 2022. And Geely Group's plug-in sales grew by 251%, which is almost the fastest growing plug-in sales. They are only second to Sokon, which I will talk about later. Next up is Mercedes-Benz. They mostly sold plug-ins earlier, but now they are transitioning to BEVs. They only grew by 20%. However, their dedicated BEV platform will come in 2024, which is, in my opinion, still in time. And we should watch them from 2024 when they come out with the new vehicles. That is when things will get interesting for Mercedes. But I think that they are not risking any bankruptcy unless FSD will be developed. We don't know that. Okay, so let's go to the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi Alliance. They only grew by 16%. They are mostly selling BEVs. And these car makers are actually a sad story because all of these car makers were pioneers. The Renault with the Zoe, the Nissan with the Leaf, and Mitsubishi also had a small BEV very early. And they somehow neglected working on their BEV lineup, and they are mostly laggards now. However, I should say that Nissan has a very interesting e-power hybrid technology, and I might make a video about that. It is basically a BEV with a range extender and a very small battery. So it is very interesting to me, and maybe it will work as a transition technology for them. Okay, let's go to GEC. GEC is a Chinese state-owned automobile manufacturer, and it is currently the fifth largest Chinese automaker in China. And regarding the BEVs, the most important brand for them is this ION brand. They are only selling BEVs, as you can see from here, and they grew by 130%, which is quite a nice number. Okay, let's go to SAIC. SAIC is also a Chinese state-owned automobile manufacturer, and it is currently the biggest in China. Regarding their BEVs, they have joint ventures in Wuling, so the Wuling minis are showed here, probably not here. And SAIC sells BEVs under different brands. The most well-known is probably MG and these IM motors. The IM LS7 looks quite great, and the previous model, the L7 as well. So these are interesting to follow. I think they will come in with a lot of vehicles to Europe this year with MG4 and other MGs as well. But they grew only by 8%, which is not a lot. But personally, I believe that they will grow much faster. So next up is Chery Automobile, which grew by 136%. And Chery is also a state-owned manufacturer in China, and they are currently the 9th largest, so they are not big. And they are mostly selling these small vehicles, as far as I know. So probably that is not very exciting to us, but the growth is quite great. Okay, let's move on to Volvo and Polestar, and because they are part of the Geely Group, they basically will go together with their C platform and their technology. The difference is that both Volvo and Polestar are premium vehicles, so I believe they can go to BEVs faster than Geely. They only grew by 15%, which is not a lot, but I am not concerned with the future of Volvo and Polestar. Okay, so let's go to Changan Automobile Group. They grew by 134%, which is quite good, and mostly they are selling BEVs. And the Changan Automobile Group is also a state-owned automobile manufacturer. They are the oldest automobile maker in China, and they are currently the smallest of the big four state-owned car manufacturers. So they are still big. They are mostly known, I believe, from their Changan brand. Their newest model is this S7, which looks quite a great vehicle, and it is worth watching them, I believe. It is also good to see that they are mostly selling BEVs. Now let's jump to Dongfeng Motor, which grew their plug-in sales by 137%, so basically the same rate as Changan did. And Dongfeng Motor is also state-owned. It is the third largest from the Big Four, and the Big Four is the nickname for the four biggest Chinese state-owned automakers. Regarding BEVs, probably this Voya brand is the most well-known, and they have started to sell those in Europe. Next up is Ford with 55%. Basically, they are growing at the same rate as the overall global plug-in market. I don't want to talk a lot about Ford because you guys probably know a lot about them and their BEV strategies and their current BEVs. I believe we have to wait until they open their new factories and come out with their new dedicated BEV platforms in order to have a very exciting news from them. I believe that is when things will get really interesting for Ford. Currently they are only in the trying out phase. The next one is Hozon Auto with a 113% growth, and as you can see they are only selling BEVs. Hozon Auto is a private public company. It is an all-electric car marque, and you may know them mostly by their Neta brand. The Neta U, V, and the Neta S vehicles are famous. The next one is the CHJ Automotive, which, as far as I understand, is basically Li Auto. They grew by 49%, and as you can see, they are only making PHEVs. Because of this, not many people consider them as a proper BEV maker. However, I believe that their architecture is very close to a BEV. There are two differences only. The first one is that their battery pack is about half the size of a full BEV. For example, the L7 has a 42.8 kWh battery. This is of course not as big as a full BEV, but it is still capable to deliver about 100 or 150 miles of real-world range. The second difference is this ICE engine. What I want to say with all of this is that I think they can convert to full BEVs very easily. They just have to put a bigger battery here, and they just have to get out this ICE engine. They have also announced already that they will create their first BEV with CATL's 4C Chilling battery. Their sales are very great, much better than NIO and XPeng. So I think they are a very interesting automaker. The next one is Great Wall Motors. They shrank by 4%, which is quite strange. They are a Chinese privately owned automaker. I believe they only make BEVs in their Aura brand. The Aura Funky Cat, I believe, is already accessible on some European markets, and the Lightning Cat will also be exported to Europe. The next one is NIO. They grew by 33%, but their sales are mostly stagnating or shrinking during the last year or so. They are going through a change to the NT 2.0 platform. I hope they will succeed, but so far the picture is not good. The same is true for Xiaopeng. Their sales are also struggling. I had high hopes for G9 and they are coming out with the G6, which is very much a Model Y competitor. Let's hope that they can pick up the pace because their sales are looking quite bad, in my opinion. This is not what a startup can afford on a long term. Next one is Toyota. Their plug-in sales even shrank by 13%. I think Toyota had great chances in the past, but they threw it away, so it is quite a sad story. They still have some chance to pick up their BEV strategy if they are executing it really well, but they got in a very bad position. The next one is Leapmotor. As you can see, they were only selling EVs in 2022 and they grew by 146%, which is great. They are basically a BEV startup, or they used to be. And that is because although the 2022 overall numbers look great, in reality their sales are kind of stagnating, which is not something what a startup can afford, as I said. So they have decided to put a range extender into their C11 SUV, and they are selling now this C11 range extended electric SUV, which is an addition to their 4 already existing vehicles. Also, the C01 is an interesting sedan. Okay, and the last one is Sokon, which actually has the lowest volume, but it grew the fastest by 267%. This table is going from the largest volume to the lowest volume, and Sokon has the lowest volume. They are a public company and they were already renamed to CHJ Group. Their most important plug-in brand is this Auto brand, which they are making in a joint venture with Huawei. And they have also announced a brand called Landian, also with Huawei. Their plan is to sell 1 million BEVs by 2026 in this new brand. I haven't found recent sales data for CHJ Group, but the one from last August is very promising on their NEV side. I think this is still an interesting automaker, both because the larger production ramp up, the support of Huawei, and the new brand they have announced. Okay, so let us summarize what we have learned here. This is the original table. I have put this data into a separate Google Sheet and ordered the data by the growth. As you can see, Sokon is the fastest. Then comes Geely Group, still with 251%, very promising, I believe. BYD with their large scale by 211% is amazing. Then comes Leapmotor, which is a startup, and so on. And Hozon Auto grew by 113%. And there is an interesting thing here. The next one is Ford with only 55%, so there is a huge gap between these two and the rest of the automakers. To me, all this race is very exciting to see how it unfolds. But the main thing what I want to say by this video is that when I see automakers growing this fast, I think there is a chance for them to get close to Tesla or at least catch up. Yeah, because we mostly think about Tesla, how big they are and how fast they grow. But actually there are some automakers which grow their plug-in sales much faster, and I think this is a very great insight. I will be very much interested to see how these guys are growing in the future. Probably BYD will slow down from these extreme rates of growth. Geely as well, and other automakers may slow down as well. We may see NIO and XPeng grow much faster, and maybe we will have some surprises from Stellantis and Toyota as well, because they're extremely low scale. But yes, these numbers are very exciting to me and shows that the race is not over yet. Okay, we have arrived to the end of this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to comment, share and give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.